Okay, but like, where... So we went through here. Yeah, actually, we might have needed to go this way anyway, because, like, we need to go up here. Yeah, let's change the clothes now, just in case there is actually any... Oh, there they are. It's a little worried for a second there. I was like, did they just disappear as soon as we took them off and started doing other things? I was a little worried. I thought they were going to show up over here. I mean, I think usually when we have the fancy clothing, they still show up in this category. Even if they only have one armor. But this technically falls under a quest item, so, okay. Oh. Breathe a sigh of relief. I wish we didn't have to tap back over every time we equip one, though. Yeah. Nearly threw us for a loop there. Okay. Just, those shoes still get me. They look so silly.
The Witcher will speak with the inmate. You can take a momentary break.
As long as it's truly but a moment. Highly irregular, this.
Dramatic lighting,
Have
of
you
course.
come to see how I fare? I'm fine, thank you. Artorius' ribbon worked wonders. It's a shame they took it from me.
I know who the fifth victim was supposed to be.
Goodness, you're simply a compulsive snoop. I'm in prison. Dettlaff is dead. Could you not just drop it?
SYANNA, stop pretending you couldn't care less. I know it's an act, and it's really starting to wear. Why do you want to kill her?
For such an accomplished
Don't you tisk us.
Ask about the obvious? Come now, Geralt. Why do you think?
I mean... Not really so much this, but mostly this. And that. I mean, it technically could be a little bit of a combination of all these things, like Regis was saying earlier, but I think this is mostly something that people wanted to make a thing, and so they sort of willed it into existence, but I'm not sure it really, really exists. I think it's mostly these two. Let's take this angle, though, when talking to her.
Because she turned her back on you, then banished all memory of you?
Bravo, Geralt. Yet another riddle solved, and your sick curiosity sated. Well, what now? Off to share your discovery with Anna Henrietta? Oh, she's no longer in danger, true. But she very well might add a little something to your reward.
Definitely gonna tell her. Not necessarily for the coin, though.
Then why do it at all?
She ought to know. If only 'cause you'll probably try to kill her again if she ever lets you out.
Yeah, that, like I was saying before.
I probably will.
Yep. I wouldn't be surprised. Honesty. Finally. Yes. I mean... Yes, this... I think this... I'd rather not go this way. I think, you know, can we try to finally get through to SYANNA? I mean, very stubborn as so many people in that we meet are. But, you know, can she... After everything... I mean, sure, she did... Like we were saying before, get 80% of her plan to work, but it went down the drain real quickly when Dettlaff died. She's been imprisoned and caught and found out. You know, if ever there were a time for her to try to understand the mistakes that she made, and I mean, it's hard to make up for them at this point, but do something about it, this would be it. So ever try to forgive her?
Perhaps, just for a second, you could stop dwelling on all the wrongs folk have done you and forgive her.
Why should I?
For old time's sake. You loved each other once.
Please. I don't know who fed you that rubbish, but...
Read your governess's diary. You played together, were inseparable. Henriette'd get you into trouble sometimes, sure, but there were also times she stood up for you. When you had nightmares, only she could calm you.
Right,
Time
we're
eats
just reading
away
about
at
it.
memories, distorts them. Sometimes we only remember the good, sometimes only the bad.
If she loved me so, why did she wash her hands off me? Forget me? Hmm?
Both of these things, I mean, I would say, might ask her that, although then again, as I was saying, and as SYANNA just admitted, I don't exactly think we want to have these two coming very close to each other, because otherwise SYANNA will, take that opportunity to strike and take her out. Oh, we kept the gauntlets on? Oh, that's true. We did. There weren't actually any gloves from the fancy armor set, so we still have those on. So, on one hand, I mean, to resolve her issues, definitely, this is the quote-unquote, or this would be the right way to do it. The problem is, you made a whole coup d'etat and tried to assassinate her and take over the duchy, and so, you know, like, probably not a good idea to have you right next to the person who you just made an elaborate plan to kill, and said you would kill if you had the opportunity to do so. So, like, on one hand, yes, this is the way for you to finally start to get over your issues, deep issues that you have been harboring, this ill will you've been harboring for however many years. Or, I mean, this just feels like a lazy sort of cop-out answer where it's like, yeah, she was a little kid, she didn't know any better, which I think that's easy to brush that off and say, well, now she's not, so she should know better at this point, and she should have done something about it, and she didn't, and therefore, I will still blame her for it. So, I think we go for this one, but acknowledge that we may get the Duchess killed by potentially bringing them back together, but it's a high-risk, high-reward approach. Let's take it. Maybe we can get them to finally settle their differences.
Don't know. But you could just ask her instead of sending monsters after her.
There's nothing she could say to change what she did to me, to justify it.
Maybe. But there's nothing out there to justify what you did to her and all Toussaint. Yet Anna Henrietta hasn't given up on you.
That's true.
Ugh. You really want a happy ending, don't you? With all of us living happily ever after. Go, Witcher, or they'll give your medal to another. And that would be a shame.
Farewell, SYANNA.
SYANNA will remember that.
Commander de la Tour would like to see you. Shall we go at once?
Need to tend to something real quick?
Need to tend to one thing first. I'll look in on him afterwards.
So be it.
That being... One moment, please. Alright, we're good now. Take us away.
Well, will you stay long?
Also, just, like, run us over while you're at it. So, yeah. My hope would be that perhaps by falling down the stairs, no, by planting that seed in SYANNA's head, that, hey, you know, maybe I can forgive people for the wrongs that they've done to me, perceived or real, whether they happened 5 minutes ago or 5 years ago. And, so that's the hope. That's the hope. Now, will there be some dramatic, happy ending like SYANNA was saying? Perhaps, perhaps not, but you know, I think we did what we could to try to make that come to fruition. So, whatever comes of it will happen, and I think we'll take it, knowing that we did what we could. We did our best. So now, I mean, we can probably hop back on Roach, right? I think Damien is... Oh no, actually he's not that close, right? He's in more like the gardens area, so we might actually want to fast travel here. Let's take a look. Palace Gardens, I mean... Yes, we could fast travel. It wouldn't actually get us much closer, though, to be honest with you. We might just ride this out.
Go, go.
Just because it gets us marginally closer. But there's also that whole loading screen factor as well, so might be best to just
Move it.
take Roach there. We could also drop a sword, this is true. I mean, Roach is going to be faster either way, but... Or a club. A small blackjack is probably enough. It is. So at least we won't be encumbered for that. Let's, oh. What do we have here? Is this what we're looking for? Or is this something else? This is something else, it seems. Just people partying, basically. I mean, that's sad, especially seeing as how you're surrounded by people who are hanging out with you right now.
You're ready to take the seat again.
Oh, it's actually this direction. Wait, what? What is the most efficient way? Down here? Where is this? Ah, there's a staircase here. Okay, gotcha. It does look pretty silly running around like this when we're in all of our fancy clothes. Actually, have you even been to stamina? Oh, no, we don't. Okay. A second there, I saw it not going down. I was like, what? Did we get superpowers from this clothing? Alright, let's maybe hard save here as well. Because this looks like our spot. That's Damien.
Champion.
Yeah, and the person who also basically saved the entirety of Tucson. So, you know, it's not like you owe us your eternal gratitude or anything. Alright, Damien.
Damien.
Geralt, it's about time. Ready for the ceremony?
So do we... Ooh. We can talk to him a little bit about how it does look like he got a gash on the side of his face, which I think is new.
Your face doesn't look good. Though it looked even worse last I saw you.
I apply a balm of Arnica. I hardly feel it anymore.
Suppose, he's rolling with it. He's found a way to deal with it. Seems like he's accepted it. I mean, we obviously know who the fifth victim was supposed to be now. Is this something that we say to Damien and tell the Duchess through him? You know, he's basically our messenger. Tell her through the grapevine? Or is it something that is sensitive, so sensitive, that we only want to tell it directly to the Duchess? I mean, I would say that probably would have been my preference, although I don't know if we're actually going to have the opportunity to do that. If we do, then it'll probably be in the middle of the ceremony. She's like, you know, in front of a large crowd, putting a medal over our head dramatically, or pinning it to our chest, and then just like, by the way, you were supposed to die. You were going to be the next victim. What? Geralt, this is not the place. That was like, I don't even know what accent that was like. That second half of that was horrendous British accent. The first half of that was like, I don't even know that. Just ignore that. So like, do we tell Damien here? Because it might be the only way that we actually get the words of the Duchess in a more appropriate manner without derailing the entire ceremony. Sure, I guess.
Got some important information. Anna Henrietta was supposed to be Detloff and SYANNA's fifth victim.
You are certain of this?
Completely. Found proof.
Inconceivable.
Inconceivable!
The murders, the mayhem she brought down on the city, were they not enough? She sought to strike down her own sister, her liege. Traitor. I must alert my men. Enlarge the Duchess's honor guard. Make certain Sylvia Anna is closely watched during the questioning. I'll see to it personally. I thank you, Witcher, for alerting me. and I appreciate your attentiveness. Let's begin the ceremony. Come with
Okay,
me.
so more
The
guards
Duchess
means
awaits.
perhaps smaller chance of SYANNA actually being able to kill Anna Henrietta, but at the same time might make people a little trigger happy and looking to take out SYANNA, not give her a chance to make peace with her sister.
In the guild's name, I beg your assistance, your enlightened highness. Without barrels, production will come to a stop, and it will be the end of us.
You lost them all in the fire. These are horrible tidings. Oh, we are most dreadfully saddened.
Yes, your enlightened highness all.
And this is her
Once
having a
the
cold heart,
beasts
because she's gonna be like, I don't care.
poured their way into the warehouse. The whole place went up in flames.
I shall dispatch a palace guardsman to examine the site of the blaze. If things are, as you say, fitting compensation shall be paid from the ducal treasury.
Thank you, your enlightened highness. Your Grace, Geralt of Rivia has arrived.
My dear subjects, we come now to our next point of business. Of all the duties which fall upon my shoulders, as the ruler of this dominion, this duty is dearest to my heart. For now, we shall award the Order of Vitis Vinifera, Tucson's highest honor.
Geralt of Rivia, Slayer of the Beast of Beauclair, step forth.
We bestow the distinction upon the Witcher, who saved Beauclair from the terrible beast. Such is our desire.
Hey, by the way,
May
that
this
beast was gonna
symbol
kill you
serve
next.
as a reminder to all that the Witcher shall forever remain a friend of Beauclair. In more familiar terms now, I thank you immensely, Geralt. Damien has your reward for you. After all, it was but a contract.
Thank you.
I have a small surprise for you, in addition. I give you more than a dozen barrels of Son Real, a wine normally reserved for the ducal table.
Why, thank you.
The gustatory experience of a lifetime awaits. Are you content?
So, here's the thing. SYANNA wanted to kill you. It's just, you know, it doesn't really feel like this is the best time or place to tell you, but I'm not really sure we're gonna have another opportunity to do that, so I think we kind of have to right now. So, maybe, you know, just like lean in and kind of like say it softly so everyone else who's fussing around here thinking happy thoughts doesn't have us spoil the party for them, but yeah, sorry, but it is bad news.
I am, and truly grateful, Your Grace. Sadly, I'm afraid I have to sour the mood.
Yep. Are the
It's
party
SYANNA.
prepare.
She plotted to have you killed, Duchess. Planned to use Detloff. You were to be the beast's fifth victim.
This cannot be true. You're mistaken. You must be.
We got some
I have
evidence.
proof.
He's not going to show the proof, mind you. We're going to say it, but we're not actually going to give her the letter.
I do not believe it. In a moment I shall speak to SYANNA.
Yeah, see?
Will you assist me?
Yes.
You
We
returned my
can.
sister to me.
But you
yet
gotta be
what
careful.
you tell me now, I find devastating. I've come to doubt that I can judge her fairly. I'd far prefer to learn you're mistaken, Geralt.
I'm not. In fact, I'd recommend you be particularly careful around her.
Yeah.
Exaggerate, Witcher. She is my sister. I know well how to speak.
No, she still wants to kill you.
If my presence will help in any manner, of course I'll stay.
We shall now question a person implicated in the murders which recently ravaged our fair city of Beauclair. Captain de la Tour, show SYANNA in.
Breathing heavily. He's ready to go in for the... Don't freaking have your back turned to her. Are you serious? You're just asking to be assassinated. She has her hand behind her back.
Take part in our talk.
Can we see anything in that hand? Not really. I mean, she has her pouch. Her fanny pack. That could be hiding a weapon of some variety. Let's see. So, I still think... So, obviously, this talk is happening. SYANNA is here. So, there is the danger to the Duchess. Where, if we're not careful, SYANNA might kill her. So, that's probably priority number 1, is make sure that the Duchess lives through this encounter. Priority number 2 is, if possible, if we can have the Duchess and SYANNA both live and actually settle their disagreements with one another, then that is ideal world happy ending. But that might be a small tightrope to walk. So let's see. Along those lines, I think we wanna try to protect the Duchess, but we also want to make sure that we are not sowing any seeds of doubt in either SYANNA or Anna Henrietta's minds that make them question whether they can actually settle their differences. I mean, obviously, we threw a huge monkey wrench in when we told Anna Henrietta that SYANNA was still trying to kill her. But I think that ignorance that Anna Henrietta had probably would have been the death of her had we not informed her. So I think that was probably still the right decision there. But, like, by saying the Duchess asked us to stay, are we basically saying, like, well, the Duchess doesn't trust you? In which case, maybe we're sending a bad message to SYANNA? Or do we kind of just keep the Duchess out of it and say it was just us choosing to stay? Maybe that's a little bit better?
I'm not a prisoner, free to do as I choose.
You have committed crimes. Grave crimes. Yet you are my sister, and my heart does not allow me to treat you as a common criminal. Nor does it let me believe you sought my demise. My heart yearns to know you were swayed by the monster Detlef. You yourself would never stoop so low. Thus I have asked Geralt to advise me, as one impartial. I shall now hear what he has to say.
Oh my goodness. So SYANNA's crimes were horrible, but she had cause to feel pain. Or SYANNA's clearly guilty, that's all that matters. Okay, so this is interesting. Because none of these are just blatantly... So this is the one extreme, saying, okay, just forget about SYANNA, she's a criminal, take her out. I was expecting to have the opposite option, and saying something like, SYANNA's an angel, and so we should totally spare her, and forget about you, Duchess, we don't care about you. SYANNA should be the real Duchess, or something like that. This was the middle ground, it seems, saying that her crimes were horrible, but she had some cause to feel that pain. I think we go this route. Again, if we're trying to find that common ground between them, I think this is the kind of bridge that we need to build, is acknowledging that both the Duchess and SYANNA did some terrible things. Really terrible things. And they can continue to hold grudges against each other, and if they do, then nothing is going to improve. SYANNA is going to get imprisoned or sent to her death. And obviously, SYANNA is never going to forgive the Duchess. Or we can say, we can have them both acknowledge, know that I did terrible things, but I would like to be better in the future, and we try to make amends. So that's the hope, and I think that's what we go with. I think that's why we go with the top one here. I think that gets us closer.
Bitterness consumes SYANNA. She had cause to resent many of the court of Beauclair. I know her reasons, understand them even. But I can't condone the actions she chose to take.
What is he talking about, SYANNA? You know exactly what. I was forcibly exiled, remember? To your benefit. You knew well the throne would then be yours, though I was the elder. The ministers I can understand. They'd hated me since I was a child, thought me a poor prospect for the wife of a duke. I even understand our parents. I'd always sensed the problem. They simply feared me, for I dared to be free. That fabricated curse, it fell into their laps. A gift from above that brought relief. But you... Your dagger hurt most. You were my Henrietta, damn it. My darling little sister. Now do you understand, Witcher? She betrayed me.
Oh, I understand. I think to understand all those you detested, had killed, I mean... They may have done terrible things to you, but that doesn't mean you can kill them. To put it bluntly.
Claim to understand them all? Why'd you come back for revenge? Have them all cut down then?
They deserved my vengeance. They detested me, all of them, as long as I can remember. But Henrietta understood me. Once. She was all I could cling to. Her betrayal hurt the most.
Alright. I mean... You were both children when this happened. Was this the same thing the prompt said before we went down that more optional side dialogue? Because I'm not sure it was. I think this might have changed even. But, either way, you were both young, didn't perhaps fully understand what was going on or the consequences or implications of banishing, exiling SYANNA, and, you know, I forget what age they were when this happened, but they were young. And, you know, when you're a child like that, it's hard to comprehend what exactly that means to potentially never see someone again for the rest of your life.
You were children then. You and your sister both had no control over what happened.
You're wrong, Witcher. She had control. Remember, dear sister, the day they banished me from the palace? Of course, I'd had the idea to pelt the Nilfgaardian envoy with fish bladders, which we filled with rancid suet on a lark, and which you set afire at the last to impress me, I imagine. And I admit, you did. Hit him right in his hideous bald patch.
See?
Never laughed so hard in my life. But when it came time to...
They shared some good times together.
He said not a word. I took all the blame and all the punishment.
But I mean, that's what happens with kids.
It's true. I did not stand up for you. I was too afraid.
The council was unanimous. They listed all my offenses. My flights from the palace. Supposed
just stand back
acts
there.
of cruelty.
Keep your distance.
Inappropriate friendships. They cast me out. But you, the only one to understand me, you cowered in a corner, lifted not a finger to help. Not before, not after. You never tried to find me.
That's not true. I searched for you. Sent out knights.
That's important. She needs to hear that.
Tidings from without. You did not wish to be found. Since the day you vanished, I have lived with the knowledge that I failed you. I'm sorry, dear sister.
Careful.
Will you forgive me?
SYANNA, reciprocate. The love and respect that she never before felt. They laid their cards on the table. Only then could they really understand each other.
best part of the whole ceremony? It was short.
Come on, Geralt.
That's for you, as you ducked out early. The others are probably just getting started. The drunkenness never ends in this quaint realm.
Not so fond of Toussaint after all, are we?
Oh, this place is like a strong wine, Geralt. Good in small sips.
A fitting metaphor.
How do you find my personal brew? Not too strong?
Just right.
Credit the local mandrake of the Alrauna diabolus variety for that. The tubers which grow in this area's volcanic soil have an altogether unique flavor profile and display a remarkably uncommon dark brown tint.
Fascinating. All I can say is this batch turned out excellent.
Indeed. It might be wise to stockpile some roots for the future. Would you care to accompany me?
Right now? Middle of the night?
You decide to go root picking now? It's dark out.
Geralt.
That was super
Even
tense,
your
right? That
generous
conversation with
just
Syanna
said
and the
that
Duchess, but I
simply
think
minded
it all
by a
went according to
vampire
plan
does
there.
Need no light to see. I'd never believe you had also forgotten that you likewise have absolutely no trouble seeing in the dark.
Alright, you got me, Regis.
So, shall we?
But yeah, so I think, like I said, that what really needed to happen was that both of them were holding on to these feelings that they just had not expressed to one another, and they couldn't understand each other until they let those feelings be known. In Syanna's case, she needed to let the Duchess know that she felt like she was betrayed by the one person that she knew, loved, and trusted and respected. And on the Duchess's side, she needed to say that she felt guilty, like she had failed her sister, and that she had done everything that she could to try to rescue her, bring her back, save her, but just was unsuccessful. Because Syanna had assumed, incorrectly, that the Duchess no longer cared about her, and basically as soon as she got thrown out was, just trying to keep her thrown out so that the Duchess could remain in power. Whereas the Duchess had assumed that there was no hope in finding or saving her because she'd already done everything that she could to try to find her, and was unsuccessful. And only once they realized that those assumptions were incorrect could they then realize that they still loved each other. So, I think, from the looks of things, that that may have ended the way that we were hoping that ended, having them settle their differences. Now, as for what that means for Syanna, I mean, she did still organize a coup d'etat and kill, or at least organize the killing of 4 people and had intentions to kill the Duchess, so, not sure she's getting off scotch-free, but, that's maybe something for the court system to figure out, or the Duchess, but anyways, let's go ahead out with Regis here.
If you think it's a good idea, let's go. And I think you might be forgetting one thing. Fresh mandrake root of this variety is highly toxic, even to a witcher.
Oh.
Not a problem. I never forget matters of safety and hygiene in alchemy. Here.
Gloves for picking
and
mandrake.
the mask. Don
Aptly
them,
named.
and you shall be in no danger.
Thanks. Right then, let's go.
You know me. I am a fan of the silly-looking masks. Technically a quest item, it probably is, right? Probably in the quest item category? Yes, okay, so let's see. What does it look like? And does it mean... Oh, we probably can't have the glasses on simultaneously. Therefore, I do not like them. I do not like the mask because it means we have to get rid of the glasses. Ooh. Interesting. We did get the actual item for the Order of the Vids Vinifera. Was, of course, the ceremony we just went to, and then gloves as well. I mean, this feels like if we had the... What was it called? The New Moon armor? Is it the one that we were basically wearing for almost the entirety of Hearts of Stone, where it's just almost pure black? This could work pretty well with that, I feel like. But on our current armor, it kind of just looks silly, and it means we can't wear glasses, which is terrible. Terrible. I hate it. We did also level up, and I don't know if this is going to involve any combat here at some point when we're trying to pick the Mandrake route, but I suppose just in case we'll throw this on. We'll upgrade our protective coating one more time.
Light makes me oh so dreamy.
Penny for your thoughts. Let me guess. Succubus twins?
No, I was thinking about, how anything can look interesting when properly lit.
Even an old necrophage corpse?
You've not an ounce of refinement in you, have you?
Alright, looks like it's right here. Kinda, sorta. Okay, we're just searching around here, I guess. I kinda assumed we were just following Regis the whole way, but apparently not. Where? Where? Assume it's, like, on the ground. That is not the right type of herb. This is Mandrake, yes, but technically not even in the circle. Oh! Sure. That ring was the difference between us being encumbered and not encumbered, so hold on just a second. Let's drop another one of our clubs, or our blackjacks. And maybe even this axe, just in case. A little more wiggle room. Okay, there we go. Mandrake root. I mean, I am kind of curious to see what happens if you, you try to lift that, or you try to pick that and you don't actually have the quest stuff on. You just die. Immediate game over. Also, is this? Oh, that's stuff we just dropped, I was gonna say. Why is there suddenly just loot in the middle of this place? Here you are. Alright, there's our two. So, Regis, we are ready.
Now, where'd that bloodsucker go?
Oh, that's not nice.
Down. He's a vampire, after all.
Alright,
Damn it,
Regis.
where'd you go?
What'd you do?
Regis!
Regis. Not funny. There appears to be some kind of enemies over there.
Where'd you go?
Yeah, it doesn't sound good. What is this? Alps and Bruxa? Ooh, this sounds like new music. Have we heard this? If we have, only very rarely. It's kind of strange. Let's see. So, looking like we're gonna run into perhaps several vampires here. They can be tough. We fought what the Bruxa was a boss previously, whereas the Alps were not, I think.
It's a vampire!
I see one. Even if it's technically invisible. See it doing its thing. Does sound like it killed someone.
Those Bruxae.
Or Regis
They
did
called
all
you
the
a
work for us.
traitor.
Alas, we've a very simple code of honor, we vampires. So simple you might call it trivial. Either one is with us, unconditionally, regardless of the circumstances, or
Won't let it go, will they?
they will not. Fortunately, we've another rule, an unwritten one, and just as trivial as the first. It is neatly summarized in the saying, out of sight, out of mind. That is why I must leave Toussaint. For a vastly long time, most like.
Yeah, I get it.
Let us make for my camp. I've an overwhelming desire to have another drink. Supreme bouquet. Firm, defined beginning, then develops gently, rising to a startling finish. Don't you think?
Not
Sure.
much of a connoisseur.
Yeah.
It is high time you started your education. After all, the Corvo Bianco vineyard is now yours. By the way, I left a gift for you at your new home. On the nightstand.
Oh, didn't have to.
Thanks. Mind telling me what it is?
That ruins the surprise, Geralt. Come on.
That will nonetheless be useful should you need mutagens.
Oh.
Incidentally, have you thought about what you'll do with your prize? Shall you hang your swords over the mantle and take to pruning vines?
An interesting question. Are we retiring from Witcherdom? Settle down there for good? We were, I mean, in many ways, made to kill monsters. Our body's been mutated to do just that. Or we just don't know. And, I mean, I think, you know, in some ways this sort of aligns with what happened with Ciri, right? Where she lived the final encounter, and then she basically said, hey, I like being a Witcher, or want to become a Witcher in full, because she kind of sort of didn't go through the entirety of the training, I guess. But, you know, and in some ways I think Geralt falls under that same boat, where it's something that sure, it's his job, but he enjoys doing it, and has been doing it for, what, like 100 years already? So, you know, if he didn't like it, then, I mean, I guess it's kind of hard to stop being a Witcher if that's your job, because, well, you know, need some form of income if you're, especially as a Witcher, if you're going to live for hundreds of years, then, you know, you can't just sit on your bum, sleeping the day away for, you know, 200 years and not be able to afford food for that. But, you know, there would be some way for Witchers to do things other than slaying monsters, presumably, yet they tend to choose not to, so I think the same goes for Geralt here. So generally, I would say, you know, this is probably along the lines of what Geralt would like to do, although this is perhaps a bit of a rare opportunity for him in that, you know, like he was saying when we first got Corvo Bianco, he's never owned property like that before, and so, you know, suddenly it's a different opportunity and could perhaps be somewhat tempting. So I think, in that way, it's kind of a, we'll see what happens type of thing. You know, I think it's the kind of thing where we'd probably want to discuss with Yen and Ciri, and, you know, get some input from the rest of the family, and take it from there.
Don't really know yet. Might find the life of a hard-working vintner too tempting one day. Or maybe I'll just stick to the path, go on roaming, staring up at the stars after laying my bedroll at the roadside.
Ah, roadsides, bedrolls, and the sky above. I sense some poetry coming on, which, of course, brings to mind Dandelion.
Of course.
I can remember a night, not too far from here if I'm not mistaken. We hid in a cave while a blizzard raged all about. Does that sound at all familiar?
How could it not? We just set off to rescue Ciri from Vilgefortz.
Oh, our encounter with Vilgefortz. That is something I do not remember so fondly. But that first stay in Beauclair, far calmer than this one.
Seemed like a land straight out of a fairy tale back then. Its sole problem, cellars too small to accommodate all that wine.
Appearances, Geralt. Appearances, like Mamoons and Dopplers, deceive. So what did become of Vilgefortz?
I'm assuming this is a whole bunch of
Killed him.
references to the book that we're seeing here.
Wasn't easy, though.
So obviously, or at least I'm fairly certain we did not ever encounter this Vilgefortz in Witcher 1, 2, or 3. So, yeah, but I mean, here's Regis posing all these questions to us, these deep questions. What about him? I mean, he says he's got to get out of Toussaint, but where will he go? Does he need to go far? He says he needs to go for a long time. Does that mean, I'll just go up to the area formerly known as Temeria that may or may not be coming back to the way it once was? You know, I probably wouldn't really recommend Velen, but I suppose you could if you really wanted to. Novigrad, I mean, maybe a little bit hard to fly under the radar there, but, I mean, or do you have to go someplace really remote?
What about you? Any idea where you'll go?
Distance is of the essence.
Yeah.
I thought I might venture south.
Nilfgaard?
Why
That
ever
would be
not?
directly south, right?
The Nilfgaardians are a modern society. None there believe in vampires anymore. This fact alone could be very useful to one wishing to remain incognito.
I mean, technically, we're in Nilfgaard now, but yeah.
Interesting point of view.
Yeah, that could prove helpful. But, yeah, let's just chill.
I so don't feel like going anywhere. Sit here a while longer?
So we shall, my friend. We have witnessed, and in fact on several occasions incited, many great and weighty events. After all that toil, I believe we deserve a bit of a rest.
That we do.
Then he looks us straight in the face. And the credits roll. GG. Well, so, that is, of course, the end of Blood and Wine, and therefore the end of at least our quote-unquote canonical Witcher 3 playthrough. Oh man, thank you everybody for coming along the ride with us. It has been quite the journey, many things that happened along the way. The highs, the lows. What would I say are probably the biggest highs? I would say I kind of need to split them up between base game, Hearts of Stone, and Blood and Wine. If I were to do that, I would probably say base game, my biggest highlight would probably be the Battle of Kaer Morhen was awesome. Loved that mission. I thought a lot of comparisons to Mass Effect 2 Suicide Mission, which in my mind at least is a mission that I think I would probably consider the best level / mission in any / all of gaming, at least of those that I've played, and I think many would perhaps agree with me or at least hold in similar regard there. So to be of a similar stature, I think is a very big compliment to that mission. That was amazing. Lots of fun to just see all of the friends that we'd come to meet and build our relationships with, and then to have all those things on the line and feel so significant in that battle. That was big. Then in terms of Hearts of Stone, I mean, the wedding was just so fun, so hilariously awesome. That's got to be the highlight for that one. I mean, also, in addition, I think just things with Gaunter and Olgierd in general, a lot of fun too. And then in terms of Blood and Wine, that might be the toughest one for me to place what my biggest highlight would be. I would say the tournament, although at times frustrating, because it was difficult, certainly with the fight at the end, I really liked the way that it took things that we thought were familiar to us, like horse racing, like fighting, and put a spin on them. In some cases, pretty significant spin on them. And it felt much more consequential than just our random, hey, race around a circle in this random area in Skellige on your horse. So that was fun. In addition to, I mean, the ending there with Detloff in particular, when he assumed his, what would it be, I guess, second form? Where he suddenly sprouted the wings, was like, ha-ha! You haven't even seen my final form just yet. I mean, that technically wasn't even his final form, but that was a pretty daunting sight. Pretty dramatic. So that was really cool to see. So that was maybe my highlights there. And then, of course, characters, so great, so strong. I would think, in terms of my favorites there, I mean, for anyone who watched the Witcher 2 playthrough, I mean, you probably see this one coming, but Vernon Roach is at or near the top of the list. So he's way up there. Ciri has got to be way up there. Who else? I mean, so many others. So many others. I think that, of course, is a big strength of the game as well as the music. I think my favorite there is probably, I want to say it was on Speakerog, was really good. Just sort of the walking around Speakerog music. As well as some of the boss fights, of course, on the more hectic side. There were some really good ones there. Perhaps, you know, the Banana Tigers that we celebrated at one point before we started to wrap things up. That would definitely be high on the list as well. And anyone who was along for the entirety of the ride, whether it be the entirety of Witcher 3, thank you so much for sticking with us throughout this entire process. It's been over a year, which is crazy to think about. I don't even know how many episodes this is going to be by the time we finish it. But if anyone, I would say if you did watch from beginning to end Witcher 3 and you didn't even skip the 7 Seas of Skellige, let me know. Well done. Well done. If, however, you went all the way through Witcher 1, 2, and 3, then I applaud you. I applaud you. In that case, you've been watching for even longer, and oh man, we've been going non-stop Witcher for an extremely long time in that case. But, all that being said, technically speaking, we are not done here, because we are looking to do some alternative endings and explore just what might happen if, rather than going with SYANNA into the Land of a Thousand Fables, instead we go the other route at the end of Blood and Wine and check out seeing the Unseen Elder, I think was his name, which originally I thought that was going to be the more directly violent, confrontational approach that was going to lead to us perhaps fighting Detloff, but well, apparently that is what happened when we went the other way, so I don't know in that case what will end up happening if we go that route. But I think, like I said, obviously the route that we took was the quote-unquote canonical approach to our Witcher 3 playthrough, and I think it's fitting with what we did with our playthrough overall. We generally tried to be a peaceful, diplomatic Witcher, tried to, make some friends and go for the quote-unquote happy ending, as SYANNA had said, and I think, based on how all that concluded between SYANNA and the Duchess, that we did, in fact, achieve that. So that makes me feel good about how things concluded on that front as well. Yeah, there may still be a little bit more, though, because as I remember, at least from the base game, there's a little bit that happened after the end credits. So let's skip through here, and let's just see.
Actually, I'd love to go home.
Yeah. Because we may not be done just yet. So let's see. In terms of our quest, go home. Geralt decided to go home to Corvo Bianco. Alright, let's take a look then. Where exactly are we here? We're, I assume, near the graveyard. Yeah. Okay, so we have this fast travel spot that's not too far away. Let's head over there. And yeah, so, I mean, I can imagine potentially a few different outcomes just based from going down that path we went with, going with SYANNA into Land of a Thousand Fables. And, I mean, primary things being, it seems as though, no matter what, if you go that route, you're going to fight Detloff to the death. That much is for certain. However, the outcome with the Duchess and SYANNA, I mean, I would think that there's at least a chance, maybe if you don't warn the Duchess in advance, for her to actually get killed, for SYANNA to truthfully assassinate her. There is also this exclamation point over there. Not by Corvo Bianco. So, not sure what that's all about. I know at one point in time there was definitely a question mark that was hanging out around here that we were saying we'd come back to at some point, but I don't know if this is that question mark and we just never ended up going to it, or if this is truthfully new. Okay, this is a quote-unquote wrap-up quest in the city as well. Okay, so in that case, is there a specific one that we should do before the other? Like, should we do this first? Or should we do the one in the city first, or should we do the one at Corvo Bianco first? Is like one the quest that truthfully ends things definitively, in which case we definitely want to save that for last? Or can we go to the other one either way? I think it might make sense to go the city first and then to Corvo Bianco. I mean, yeah, if it's possible to do it either way, then, I suppose whichever one is more the true conclusion, I suppose. We can, of course, conclude on that. Yeah, so why don't we go city first in that case?